When I was growing up, my grandparents used to tell me, "Debbie, you are really special. There's something about you." Why did they say that? My father is Roy Bell Guerrero Sr., and my mother is Barbara Jean Woodworth. Mom was a twin, and her sister married Dad's brother. I was born January 10th, 1953. I grew up with 3 brothers, 1 sister, and 6 cousins in Kent, Washington. In the 1950s, my Uncle Tommy and Annie Mary moved down from Alaska and bought a 23-acre farm near Mount Rainier. Annie Mary worked really hard to plant the seeds, work the fields, cook and clean the house. My father and his brothers, who she had taken care of after my grandma and grandpa died, she put them to work on the farm. Everyone had to carry their own weight and contribute. They all worked so hard. As the oldest daughter, I helped clean my grandmother's house, and I also babysat my younger brothers and sisters. I've worked hard all my life. 10 days after I graduated from high school, I moved into Seattle to Beacon Hill, and I paid $75 a month for a fully furnished apartment. I worked at Pike Place Market for Moss Kajioka at Wonder Freeze. After that, I worked in several different fruit stands. Back then, everyone was family. It was such a magical time, and I met so many people. One of those people was a beautiful Indian woman named Jean Cole. She came through the market, and she looked at me with her hands on her hips, and she said, "What are you doing here? You could be in school. Your tribe will pay for it, and I can help you fill out the paperwork." And 2 weeks later came a letter from the University of Washington telling me that I was accepted. Until that time, I never even heard the word college. My mom and dad used to say, "I just want our kids to graduate from high school." I also had a counselor in high school who said, "Oh, you probably couldn't make it to community college." I am special because I am the only one in my family who went on to higher education. School wasn't easy, and I almost didn't make it. At the time, I was one of very few Native American people walking the campus of the University of Washington. I had one counselor who was a Native woman, Joanne Armstrong, and she tried to encourage me. I never felt like I was good enough, so I just stopped going. And that's when I met Charlie in 1979. I met him at Pike Place Market, right under the clock, across from Dinah Yokoyama's brother Johnny's famous fish stand. We made $5 an hour for 10-hour days. Charlie and I got together. He had a sense of humor and a New York accent. I got pregnant with our first son, Charles Llewellyn Tripp. When Chach was 9 months old, Charlie saw an advertisement for a park and enforcement officer, and I applied for the job, and I got it. And I worked from 1980 to 1986. It was a very tumultuous relationship. In 1985, I gave birth to my daughter Barbara Marie Tripp, and then in 1987 to our son Nicholas Bernard Tripp. As I was being interviewed for the Seattle Police Department position, a woman named Janice Corbin looked at my resume and said, "You didn't finish school. Shame on you." 11 years later, in 1991, Janet's words were still stuck in my head. I went back to school because I have to finish what I start. I decided to enroll in Shoreline Community College, where I earned my AA, and then I transferred to the University of Washington. I graduated in 1997 with a bachelor's degree in women's studies, and I was very proud of myself. I did it, and I loved it. I started at $9.46 an hour, working at the King County Bar Association, and a friend of mine called me up and asked me if I would come and help her at Franklin High School, working in the Teen Health Center. That experience gave me the background to work across the street at DSHS. I did CPS investigations. It was just so invasive, looking in cupboards and looking in closets. And the thing about that job is the beautiful little children. We got them out of situations where there were drugs and alcohol and just really severe abuse. It's heart-wrenching work. Not everyone can do it. But when I think about these beautiful little brown faces, that's why I continue to do what I do. I was approached by one of my coworkers, Carmelita Atkins. Carmelita said, "Debbie, did you fill out that application for the MSW program yet? Today's the last day." 2 weeks later, I got another acceptance letter from the University of Washington. I told Charlie and the kids that I was going to go back to school, and he said, "You already have a degree. You don't need another degree." At the time, I had been helping to organize women's empowerment camps in Canada. I'd been asking Vi Hilbert to come and be one of our presenters. And as we started our journey, she asked me, "How's your relationship?" And at one point, she looked at me and she raised her hands and she shrugged her shoulders and said, "Well, dear, you allow it." And that truth hit me deep in my soul. When I returned home, I left my 22-and-a-half-year relationship in 8 hours. I wanted more than to be a laundress, a cook, a maid, a taxi, and a nurse. But I knew I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to be a good role model for my children. In 2006, I graduated with a master's degree in social work. At my second graduation, I wore my full regalia. I've been in the social work field for 17 and a half years, and I really don't want to retire anytime soon. Our Indigenous people deserve to have good lives. I've been down the road of sexual abuse, drug and alcohol abuse, and domestic violence. I have a deep understanding of the pain and suffering. On May 12th, 2014, my daughter gave birth to my beautiful first granddaughter, Lillian Marie Skeens. And then on June 2nd, 2017, she gave birth to Priscilla Ann Skeens. As a Native mother and grandmother, I give freely of my time and money when people need it. But I also know that life is about balance. I believe Creator gives us blessings, and with those blessings comes that burden. In 2006, a beautiful heart drum became part of my life, and I have no idea where it'll take me on this journey. Kaya's heartbeat is the spirit and vibration of that sacred drum. She penetrates and connects every soul that comes to her. It's beyond me how this healing takes place. My name is Deborah Joan Guerrero. I'm Tlingit and Filipino on my father, Roy Bell Guerrero's side. Snohomish, Cowlitz, French-Canadian, Irish and German on my beautiful mother, Deborah Woodworth's side. My paternal grandmother was Lillian Bell from Juneau, Alaska. My paternal grandfather was Juan Guerrero from Cebu, Philippines. My maternal grandmother was Celia Woodworth from Shelton, Washington. And my grandfather was Thomas Kahele from Hawaii. My Tlingit name is Gunsik, which was my grandmother Lillian's name, and it means last of the royal princesses. What I know today is that we are all very special.